All right. Looks like we're live on YouTube. I didn't get a confirm box. I don't know if anyone else did. Anyway,
Yep.
well, we look live. Today is Thursday, April 24th and 1st, and this is our weekly developer check-in meeting for miscellaneous core issues and similar. Before we get into our agenda, we should go around and do some quick introductions. If you want to share what your name is, where you're from, and something you're excited about to share with the community, you can definitely do that. I like to do popcorn, which means one of us will call on another one at random, and then we will go around until everybody has introduced themselves. I'm happy to go first. My name is Jen Lampton, joining us from Oakland, California, and I am working on a lot of backdrop sites this week, and I'm very pleased that it's not a lot of Drupal sites. So that's what I'm excited about. Let's see. Joseph, do you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, I'm Joseph. I'm a developer from Las Vegas, Nevada, and I haven't really been doing much with Backdrop in the last couple of weeks. Tim?
There we go. My name's Tim, and I'm St. Paul Tim. I'm in Deerwood, Minnesota, and I suppose the excitement in my life is setting up a Linux desktop, which led to some turmoil in terms of getting Zoom to work today. But it seems to be working today, and that's why I have two Zoom windows open. But for now, so ignore the other Tim. He's an imposter. Robert.
I'm Robert Lang, one folder on
Oh, I froze.
You're still moving to us. But, yeah, I'm Robert Lang, one folder on.
Did you hear me, my introduction?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead then.
Robert Lang, one folder on the internet, coming to you from Altadena, California. And I'll pass it to Martin.
I am Martin, Yorkshire Pudding on the internet. I'm working on a backdrop site, but I'm also doing some stuff with B, which is the command line tool, and trying to make it work better if you're installing with complex passwords, because at the moment it doesn't work very well if you've got complex passwords. So I'm trying to improve that, and just pick up on our discussion earlier. I'm also going to try and pick up where Jeff's kind of started, but then left off on maintenance mode for B. Just trying to help me move B forward. I'm going to Joseph.
I think Joseph already went.
Oh,
yeah,
you've
I
already
think that's
been.
everyone. So thanks. Let's see. So in the last week, it looks like we have 2 new projects out. So contributed projects for. There's one called jQuery RSS block, which looks like it pulls in content from an RSS feed with JavaScript, which is kind of neat. And we have one called Simple Tester, which I guess allows you to run an individual test at a time rather than doing the entire test suite at once. So those look neat. Thank you, people who've been working on contrib projects. We didn't get a forum post up for very long before this meeting, so I don't think we have any comments from the forum. But if anyone has anything they'd like to talk about in today's meeting, we do have an open general discussion section. If there's any burning issues. This is what happened when Nate's not here. Should we look at recent pull requests or something like that? I don't know. Stuff that's important from milestones, maybe. Check
Sure. Yeah, I mean, is there anything in the milestone that
So yeah, there's a couple of things in the milestone stuff that I haven't seen before yet. There is the improved styling of color input elements. This looks cool. It's marked RTBC. That's great.
Yeah, I think that's an easy one, but I don't know if it needs, yeah, it's RTBC, so probably
Yeah.
doesn't need any discussion.
No. And then we also have the add a link to backdropcms.org on the module list for each module. So this is a feature that was in admin menu, I think in Drupal. I don't know if we have it in Backdrop, where you have the option for every module to link to Drupal.org. This is now putting it directly on the modules page, I think. It's labeled works for me, but also needs work.
Well, yes, it was RTBC, and that's how it got on the milestone. But then like I got kicked back because it had some problems. So this was one that came out of the code, you know, that sprint. Somebody worked on it, Rakesh, and he's, I think, still working on it. So I don't know if he updated his PR yet or not. I'm trying to find the issue. I haven't got there yet. What number was it?
Number 5003.
Okay.
So it doesn't look like there's an updated pull request yet.
Yeah, if anybody has time to just quickly look, I think Rakesh is looking for confirmation on what he wants to do there. And if anybody could glance at it.
Which one's that? Sorry.
On 5003. Do we have is there a screenshot in this issue anywhere? Yeah, up
No.
at the top.
Was there?
No, there's not. There's the screenshot is Greg's wish, what he'd like it to be, not what it actually is. So maybe I should at least get a screenshot of the issue. I'll try to work on that.
Yeah, interesting. So this is something that might be hard for a first-time contributor to sort out, but essentially the module list lists every individual module, including submodules for a project. But submodules don't have their own page on Drupal.org. It's only the parent project that has a page. And so trying to find something that we can use consistently for a link on the modules list is hard.
Right.
So we would need to pull the project name and use that, and then decide if we want to have duplicate links for submodules, or if we only want to link when the parent project matches. So yeah, I don't know. Could be tricky.
Well, I thought Nate suggested a solution, so I wasn't sure if that's a complete solution or not.
Yeah, you can get the project name. That should be checked for value since it's not always present. And that should be used for creating a link. So if it's not present, do we not add a link? Interesting. So the project key is actually only usually provided in the info file if the module belongs to a different project than its own name. So if we only ever added a link if project was present, that could present an issue.
Okay, I just put a screenshot in the issue if anybody. That helps anybody. Well, for context, Rakesh again came from that code sprint. He was one of the top PR writers during that sprint and has expressed an interest in continuing to help out a little bit. So if we could give him a little bit of support on this issue, I think he'd be willing to try and dig deeper and learn a little bit. But so
it does look like the latest version of the pull request does not have the changes that Nate recommended in it, and that
No.
could be because he doesn't know how to proceed with.
well, right. Basically, what he said was, "Oh, should I just?" I think he did something like what Nate suggested earlier, and then he switched it. And Nate said that Rakesh had the idea before, and so Rakesh asked, "Should I just go back to this version of it?" And I can't answer that. I don't know if just going back, he's got to link this one. And basically, I think what he's asking is, if I did this, would it work? And if somebody could say yes or no, that might help.
Yeah, that they look this.
That seems to be an earlier PR that he's deleted, so
Yeah.
but we can still see it.
This still uses the key. Yeah, I can't tell from looking at the pull request. I'll have to look at the whole chunk of code, but I mean, I think probably what we should do is try it with the BWPN recommended the references module that has submodules of user reference and node reference, and see what links it generates for those submodules. And then we should decide if we should either not generate a link in the case where we don't have the project, or generate a link to the project page for the parent project for the submodules also. Because it could be that like the parent project is something like, this is not a real example, but something like VBO, and then the name of the module inside would be like views_bulk_operations. So even if you did have module, it could be that the project name is different, and so you wouldn't ever have one. I don't know, it might not match. You might not have a project key, and so it could be hard to determine how to build that link.
Okay.
So yeah, I think we should test it and see what we get.
Okay. Sure. My advice to Rich might be to either watch this discussion issue, or go back and try that other thing and see how it works, and then ask for feedback on how to make it better. He should at least understand the problem.
Okay, let's see. Back to the milestone. There's also layout UI, allow blocks to be disabled or hidden instead of removed. I would love that.
Yeah, and it looks like it is working. Herb Duel has a small recommendation that I think just needs to be implemented, and it's ready to go.
Fantastic. Is this
Doc-
also from the sprint?
No, Doc
Okay.
Wilmot did this. Doc, this is the first issue inspired by our survey. Doc, will this reached the top 8 issues in our survey, and Doc
Oh,
Wilmot
nice.
said, "Oh, we have a contrib module for that," and he quickly converted the contrib module into a core pull request. That seems to be working. So.
Nice. So adds a new status property for block. And it's got tests. It's fantastic. One thing that we might test is the accessibility of the disabled color, because that's something we've had problems with in various interfaces before. So I don't know.
I don't know if you noticed, but that came up, and it was it was worse, and it's been improved. I don't
Great.
know. I don't know if it's gotten a seal of approval, if anybody's like tested it against to be sure, but it was worse. Indigozilla raised that issue. Doc Wilmot made it a little better. Olaf, do you know if it's good enough?
No, it's not. And we have,
Okay.
but we have another issue where we try to solve that.
Okay.
Also for views, for the list of the views and so on. But it's
Okay.
not clear yet how we solve it. Yeah, so it has been addressed to match other pages, but all the pages have to be improved.
And
Yeah.
we have an open issue now for fixing all of the pages, right?
Yeah, it would be
Okay.
great. I don't know if there's any work on this in Drupal too, but it would be great if we could get it so that we're not introducing accessibility issues. That's probably a pipe dream. But I might go do a Google after this and see if Drupal came up with a interface for disabled stuff that doesn't use lighter gray. So they probably did some testing. So I'll just go look at it. But yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Doc Wilmot.
Looks like issue 4519 is the issue. The disabled text color, or the disabled text color in tables is not accessible. But that's more than this issue. That's all of our areas.
4519.
Yes, 4519.
I'm just gonna drop that into the agenda. Okay. We should maybe add the table's color probably won't solve the block interface issue. So we might want to make sure we have this, because it's the same problem, but the code will need different code to fix it. So we might want to add a specific issue for the layouts interface, because that's a whole different beast. But
Okay,
just saying that out loud.
sure.
Okay. There is another issue. Allow forms to set custom validation error messages on required fields. This is apparently a feature that exists in Drupal 8. And there's a blocker for inline form errors, which I think Greg is motivated to get moving. Trying to see where this is right now. So yeah, it looks like it hasn't had any activity since January. And the request is for clarification on whether we're doing it or not. it looks like this is, I mean, I'll have to look at it in more detail, but it looks like what this is sort of an API change to support the rest of stuff that can happen around it. Nate confirmed it's not actually a blocker for inline form errors, but it's apparently a good improvement anyway. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we should see what it actually, if it does anything visually different immediately in the pull request, if we have any examples or anything like that where we can see it in action, or if it just is a change in the way that we're handling form validation errors. That could be interesting. I don't know if we're doing it or not. So Greg says to get this moving, I've set the milestone. And then Tim added the milestone, but it also could be done in Contrib. You're muted, Tim. I don't know if you're helping clarify.
I was just saying, I was trying to find where the contrib candidate. Oh, there, you added it.
I added it,
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. It's right there at the end. Okay. I assumed it was further back. Okay. Okay. Well, sounds like we can. There's nobody actively working on this anyways right now, right? So
Yeah.
until Greg gets back, and then we can talk more about it.
Why was it labeled contrib candidate?
Because it's probably possible to do in Contrib. That's usually why they like. Let me see what I was thinking. Add something on the pull request here. It's just.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if some of the follow-up activity alluded to in the discussion was going through core code and making lots of changes to make use of this, which we couldn't do if it were contrib, right?
Well, all of those other changes would also just have to be in the module. So there is like a inline form errors module for Drupal 7, for example. I don't know if it's doing it the same way that Drupal 8 is doing it, but just where the, like, whether this issue is a blocker for core or not, I don't know. I haven't looked at it recently enough. But in general, when I add a contrib candidate label, it's like, oh, this could be a module instead. So like if we don't want to do this feature in core, it can still exist, and someone could write a module to do it instead.
Right.
And so I don't know where this is right now. I need to look at it again. But I obviously was having that thought at some point, which is why I put the label on it. But I'll go look at it again and add a comment because Stockholm specifically asked about it to figure out where that came from.
Yeah, Greg made a comment dated December 7th where he pointed out that we would go through all of our quote validate, count, or something validate, something submit functions to move out custom form set error logic that was handling these things individually, and then use the new property. And that, I don't think there's a clean way to do that sort of change as a contrib.
Yeah, I think he was thinking about that for the follow-up issue though, for actually doing inline form errors. Because I don't think this actually changes anything yet. I don't know though. I need to review it. I haven't looked at it in a while. Yeah. I can also read the Drupal 8 issue, and that'll help too. But I don't know where it stands. But anyway, DocMoment deserves an answer as to why I put that label on there. So that's what I want to do. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that's everything on the 122 issue, with the exception of the hidden path content type issue, which I don't know if we want to talk about. We talked about it a little bit before the meeting.
Well, I would, mainly because Olaf's here and he has a vested deep interest in this issue, that we should update him.
Sure.
And verify.
Which one?
So Olaf, our-
Cards.
the cards content type. So are you okay if we just remove the image styles for now and separate that issue out? I think you indicated that in the issue. I'm just confirming it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's a
Okay.
pity, but I don't see another solution for the moment. So,
Yeah, and we have very different opinions in terms of trying to fix that. So I would say and it might be, I think the new issue that I opened, I think people are associating it too much with this issue, and that's causing chaos where I don't know that there should be, but if we just separate it out and deal with it later, it might be cleaner.
yes, yes.
I feel like this poor issue has gone through enough derailment. It would be good to get it done. And if we can get that other issue resolved before the next minor, that would be great too.
Yeah. So just one idea, which I didn't write down somewhere. What do you think about if we, for the time being, add a really small description like at the image field where we indicate that it's good to use the same image size for the cards or something?
Yeah, I often do that on a lot of my websites. In the description field, I'll put like recommended image size or something in there just to help editors. I think that's a great idea for the card node type because it'll help
Okay.
people if they are replacing those images. I think that's a fantastic solution. And then, if they don't put an image that's the right size, they'll say, oh, well, it said right there, or they'll edit it and be like, what's wrong? And it'll say right there. So it'll answer the what did I do question too. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when we add a better image style, we can remove the description.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that sounds great.
Okay.
So now for the meeting, I have an emergency here with the website, so I think I won't talk very much if possible. So mostly.
Okay.
Good luck with your emergency.
Yeah,
Yeah.
PHP 8. I just wrote an issue for override mode options. Widescreen on PHP 8.
Oh no. Okay.
I don't think there's anything else. And if you have nothing else urgent to say, well, then we don't probably need to talk about this issue anymore. Most of Jen's feedback, I think, was pretty straightforward, except for that one. You got to sort out that radius thing. But I think that solves
Also,
it.
thanks to you.
Mhm. Okay. Good. Well, maybe we'll get this in yet.
We will.
My
must.
optimism is going up
We
and
have
down.
to.
It's so close. It's been so close for so long.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Okay.
Everyone's gonna love it. They don't even know yet.
I hope so. But I'm sure somebody said that about the overlay module in Drupal 7. So
I don't know if anyone said that. Sneak it in. The dark of night.
okay.
That's
Okay. Enough of
it
that.
for the 122 milestone. What do you guys want to do? Do you want to look at the bug fix milestone, or should we?
Well,
talk
if
about
I had more
things?
energy, what I would be doing is brainstorming any other quick, because the bug fix we have like a full month on yet, but we're down to about 10 days on the minor release. And if there's any other, if anybody knows of any other sort of quick wins.
I keep thinking that field group and core could be a quick win. I know there's like a bunch of user experience stuff we'd have to work on, but I still think it could probably go in as standalone module, which makes it a lot faster than some of the other potential things for new features in core. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's, so popular already. I suppose there's a little
Right,
intricacy
well-
there with the upgrade path for current sites. Like it's not really just putting it in core, but
Oops. I'm going to try to quickly share the priority list to see. I mean, so we can talk. I'm not trying to derail that
No, no,
discussion.
that was all I.
Okay. Well, so it could be a quick win, but I think it would require that somebody with sufficient skills, get behind it
And sufficient time.
and right time exactly with time and skills to do that in the next 10 days. And that's probably the blocker right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to share well, I can't share my screen for weird reasons, or my entire screen, but can people see the list?
Yeah.
Yep.
So are there any other quick wins on this list? This is our survey. Well, an icon font decor probably isn't like a super complicated issue other than deciding how to do it, because I know that's been divisive. And I could be wrong. Maybe it is complicated, but
I think that's one that is likely to spark a lot of debate, because I think when I originally created it, I was thinking about Font Awesome, but since then Font Awesome has become closed source. And so then we need to use Fork Awesome, and it's not as up to date. And it's one of those things where, people will be like, we should make our own. I just think there's a lot more conversation that has to happen around it, even though technically it's not very complicated. It's a lot of decisions.
So is there anything else here that could be a quick win? Allow multiple file uploads. So that's, that's been talked about enough. I had reference module decor. I think Nate said recently that we're getting close on that. My understanding is that he doesn't think we're close enough that it would be a quick win. Automatic updates. Back up in my, go ahead. Somebody want to say something? Just confirm for me, this automatic updates used to be on our weekly agenda, because it's sort of my understanding that a lot of the work is done, right? It's just, isn't it some sort of authentication or verification?
We're working on something called package signing, which basically would make project module include not only a link to to get the project, but like a hash of what that file would look like. And that will make sure that when you get the file, the system can hash it and compare those hashes and make sure it got the file it thought it was getting. And that's really important before we start automatically updating, is we're not introducing something where someone can sort of stand in the middle and be like, oh, you wanted package A, I'm going to give you package B instead. And then you install something really dangerous on someone's computer. And I think that Nate has a really good proof of concept up for how that would work. But I know he and Jay Franklin wrote the first version. I don't know. There was something, but because it required changes to project module in addition to changes to core, it's been hard to move that forward. Right. So I don't know what the current blocker is on that, but I know that it's on Nate's plate. I think it might be a good idea to put it back on the weekly agenda so we can start talking about it again. So maybe I'll do that.
Backup and migrate functionality decor probably doesn't feel too easy. So number 6 here, that's the one that we might actually get into core. We have a PR. Jen just made a case for field group functionality. Move title display settings to manage display.
That one might not be that hard.
Do we have like a PR for it yet, or do you know?
I don't think we do have a PR, because all we're doing is moving something from one form to another form.
Would that just be using the custom field hook to put it into the managed form thing?
Yeah. So we would just be removing it. There's a section called display settings, and I think what we would want to do is move everything from. Is this title? No, this is just title. Yeah, it would make it I think it's called a pseudo field. It's like hook pseudo field, whatever. I don't know. On the I don't know. I guess maybe one for node, one for term, one for user, rather than one for entity. I don't know how that would work exactly, but
right, because not all entities necessarily have a title field.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
this has been inactive since 2019, but But it's obviously got some interest here. It's on the top 10 of our survey. So if anyone's inspired, that
Oh,
would,
that remove button one is really easy.
which number? Oh, add an easy to use remove button for Mimosa.
There might even be a pull request on that already. It's probably out of date if it's issue number 314.
Well, you know, sometimes.
I have a pull request for this on several websites. So if there's not one here already, I could probably move that over. Oh, we already have examples. Contrib modules anyway.
Yeah, but we don't have any. It's surprising to me that that has that many votes, but only 4 comments
Well, I mean,
Since- since 2014. So,
that might show that our voters aren't on GitHub. You know,
right.
that's why we have the poll. Some of them.
And an easy to use remove button on appropriate multi-value. Okay. Well, if anybody's inspired, there's another one that may or may not be low-hanging fruit that would address a pretty popular issue. So once we get past the top 10 items, you know, we're getting down to items that have only, well,
We should go to 12. That is 12. Okay.
yeah. And now we're down to 5 votes where the, you know, which is less than,
Yeah.
anyways, that's getting pretty low. Although, you know, that's still,
Probably disable comments might not be that hard. These are things like I haven't looked at. I'm like, the concept is so straightforward, but I have no idea what's involved in doing that.
is this the one you're talking about? Allow admin to hide title and comments?
No,
was it a
but
different
that also seems reasonable.
Mm.
And
I
it is
I
to
think
me,
that's
it's,
what-
I remember the disabling comments. There's a lot of discussion about a number of different scenarios. So
Yeah,
Yes.
that could happen. Probably.
what
safe.
was the other one that you said? Oh, allow option to globally disable comments. That was the one you
yeah,
mentioned.
that was one where there's been a lot of discussion about the different scenarios that need to be
Yeah.
covered.
Okay, we do have a PR here. It looks like if Serendipity did it, it's pretty old.
Oh yeah. I just revived this recently.
Right.
Um,
Do you
Yeah.
remember like how close the PR was?
No, I think I ended up adding my own setting. I didn't use the pull request on this issue, but when I found this issue, I was like, I really want this feature, so I just added a comment.
Okay.
But I don't think I used pull request.
Okay.
It probably needs a major rebase, but
Well, yeah, at least that, and then, you know, was it working at the time? PR needs work. Okay, well, that's something somebody could look at and see if, how much work might be involved in that. So we do have while I'm sharing my screen, I will just remind everybody, I created the blog post so people can, if they want to list issues that are their priorities, or if they're looking for, this was something we could have kind of walked through too. Although I think we touched on most of these issues. So. This one is no longer a blocker, but it was related to the pageless nodes one. And it seems like it just needs some tests. So this. Still,
yeah, I wonder, has a core committer reviewed this yet? Yeah, it'll, is that Herb? Yeah. Okay, good.
Okay.
I wasn't sure it was gonna fly with the current approach, but that's good. Yay.
Okay, well, I think I put it on my list at one point when it needed my priority list because it was a blocker. It's still, I think, a good issue. It's a nice fix, but
Yeah.
it's not a blocker anymore. So
I see the typo in the heading of 5590 has been corrected on GitHub, but hasn't come through onto Maybe it's just on the blog post as opposed to feeding through.
Right, yeah, this is not a,
Add cropping to default image styles rather than add cropping.
Cupping.
oops, okay, I'll fix that. Yes, this is hard coded here. It's not,
Yeah.
it's not pulling from GitHub. I'll do that after. Anybody
No
who
problem.
has access to edit should feel free to edit this list.
Yeah, I don't.
If you have edit access on backdrop.org, otherwise just flag me and I'll fix things.
Yeah, I only just noticed it there. So.
Or if you want to add issues to this list and you don't have access, just let me know. This list seemed to be really helpful last release cycle. This release cycle, I haven't noticed that yet, but it might still come into play in the last week. So I tend to, in the final days, as I'm looking for how I can be helpful, to just go through like this list and see if there's anything I can help with. So,
That's great. Thanks, Tim.
okay.
All right. Well, we've got 10 minutes to go fix maintenance mode.
Good. You get that done.
I'll go work on it.
Should we wrap up the meeting? I can turn off the
Yeah.
recording.
Yeah, I think so.
Bye, everybody.